don't link up. Like I'll wear the white logo, you'll wear the Wild Willies, and then one day I'll wear the Wild Willies and you're wearing the white logo.
Where do you get this shirt at?
This is the Sitka. It's a Sitka shirt.
This got Georgia on it?
Yeah, because it's a Georgia. They have a Georgia store now by the Battery.
Is it like a UGA or like just a Georgia?
It's just Georgia. Just Georgia, but they use the red and black, so it's
they're taking advantage of the the branding of being Georgia. Mm-hmm. Do you have to run a certain camo now?
No, I'm free agent right now.
What's been your favorite? Like, what do you? Sitka, yeah.
But is that like a long-term thing, or is that like a one-time, like, here's a bunch of stuff, wear us for a season?
It is, I mean, you obviously in the hunting world, like most of the deals are like year-long deals. Or like I have some like 3-year deals where like it increases. But yeah, so if I were to be working with just a specific company, obviously I'd have to wear their, only their stuff.
But can you reach out to somebody, maybe you don't have a deal with them, but you can reach out to them and say like, hey, I will wear y'all stuff, or do they reach out to you?
Both.
Like if you're like, hey, I want to deal with like Matthews, would you reach out to Matthews or like hope and pray they call you?
Yeah, you would hope and pray that they call you. But that's just because, if you were to hit them up on like Instagram or whatever, like you're not going to get the man in charge that divvies out deals and stuff like that. So it's like in the hunting world, like I come from, before I was doing full on hunting, I was getting one-off brand deals for would be like 60-second integration on a video, and they pay you a certain amount and then it's done. They might come back in a year or whatever, but it's just it pays the bills, but it kind of sucks. And now, like moving into the hunting industry, it's more personal, like talking, creating relationships, and then you meet the guy, and then it's, I think everybody knows everybody in the hunting world, and then it's just like a matter of time. Like what I try to do is, for instance, like I'm working with Moultrie right now. For 3 years, I was using every camera. I was trying to figure out which camera was the best. So all cell cameras have exploded in the past 3 years, and I was using 5 of each brand to try to figure out which one works the best, camera quality, battery, just common issues, what does videos better, whatever. And I just came to Moultrie that at the time that they were the best out of the ones that I was running. Now, every camera would have its mess ups, obviously, but came to Moultrie, figured out that I wanted to work with Moultrie, then met the guy, and now, build relationships that way.
It doesn't always work out to where you see Moultrie is the best and you get to work with them. Sometimes you may have to work with somebody else. Correct. Just based on the deal overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's also got to be hard too if you're like promoting somebody for 2 years and you're like, this is the best in this market, and then you get picked up by a different company in that market that you got to promote, and you're like, y'all, forget everything I said for the past 2 years. These people are
but it. I would say a lot of, at least the way that I've done it is I just would like if I'm not,
endorsed by this company.
I don't know if this sounds good or what, but like if I'm not being endorsed by the company, I would just try not to show it, but I would still be using what I wanted to use.
You're just not going to hardcore and
right.
Like
I'm not going
to,
if somebody asked, I'd be like, yeah, these are the cameras I use, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, whereas now, like I'm showing the trail camera pictures with Moultrie, I'm showing me setting up the cameras and stuff like that,
Yeah.
The best way to work with brands is to kind of prove yourself, right? For Tethered, I was like, I reached out, obviously having like some of my good buddies are, big in the hunting industry from the Sequin Boys and like Crispy and stuff like that. And so I had a good resume with those guys, you know what I mean? So when I reached out to them, they reached out to those guys and were like, who is this guy? How, is he good? Blah, blah, blah. And they're, they talk good about me, I guess you could say. And then it's like, all right, get free stuff, prove yourself. I'll promote you for a year. But then, then it's like, I did this, what you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, So,
but how do they prove that you prove yourself? By like foot traffic that you bring them?
I mean,
or clicks or like
I would say just like views are the big thing, and that's that always shows
by how many people you're getting in front of, not necessarily how many people you're bringing to them.
Yeah, so that's what's I think is hard is to be able to, so let's say a video gets 500,000 views, and like this is one thing that, you know, a lot of brands don't get. Like if you put a link in your description, how many times do you click on a YouTube link? Rarely ever, right? But if you follow somebody and you see that they are wearing a Wild Willies hat and you're like, oh man, that's a sick hat, I'm just going to type in Wild Willies, right? So it's very hard to prove, you know, like other than the numbers from the YouTube video, right?
But that's why they use code YAPPY20 at checkout,
right, but
to see if you're bringing the traffic.
Yeah, that does help. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people don't always do that. They're just gonna buy it, you know, because we use it.
You'll never fully know the reach and benefit that they are getting from
right.
Kind of the same thing here.
I was about to say, have you had people reach out to you for like brand deals?
Yeah, but I'm saying the same thing for me personally at this dealership. How many people come here and buy a car because of a video they saw or a post? And you can't
always put a number on it, but a lot of people will come down and be like,
yeah.
Like the dude that just drove from Canada. Like you can put a number on that because he just drove down from Canada saying because of watching the YouTube.
Yeah. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, I think that, you know, producing good numbers with good content, you know, it kind of sells itself. It's like there's going to be a percentage that don't use the code or don't click the link in your description. So then you don't get any like pushback from it. But it's like, hey, I have this many eyes on your product, using your product, and, you know.
That's proof of concept enough right there.
So
just like when friends get together, you forget to do an intro. So like we're sitting here with Tristan Yap Tango. Started out as underwater adventure seeker, outdoorsman now as well too. Jesse Cash Money, way overdue.
Yeah, long time.
Hadn't done a podcast with Cash.
Well, this has been
this is way overdue.
This is way overdue. We've been talking about doing a podcast for years. And also playing golf together.
How you get started on golf, dude?
We did break bread together. We did have Longhorns before this today. So everyone welcome. Going to have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. And I guess I want to start it with just telling our viewers and listeners kind of your story, how you got to where you are now.
Okay. So I was your college kid that went to college just for sports and was like, I'll figure it out whenever I figure out life, you know, just wasting money on student loans and stuff like that. And, you know, I had scholarships and stuff, but still, you know. And so I had no idea where I wanted to go in life. I just knew, like, my dad has a successful tree business, and I was like, I do not want to be in the tree business, like, whatever, especially out in the heat and stuff like that. So basically, I was had a communications degree. I was working on a communications degree. I had like 21 credit hours left, and I was I always wanted to, like, my mom has a video of me saying, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to have my own hunting and fishing show. And so I went and did the communications degree because you had to be signed up under that degree to be able to take a video and editing class. And so I took the first video editing class, and it was like, you know, I learned a little bit, but cameras were too expensive. Like, iPhones were not where they are today, and just, it was, you know. Whereas now you can do iPhone, edit on your iPhone, do everything from your iPhone. Back in the day, it was like you buy a, you know, $300 to $500 editing software. You got to buy a $10,000 camera. It was just unreasonable. Yep. I was like, all right, I'm going to take one more. I finished up that course, didn't really get what I wanted from it. Like, the goal was to just literally be able to make hunting videos with my buddies just for memories, not for YouTube or anything like that. There was no idea of YouTube, and YouTube was super new then. So then I go and take this class. I signed up for another, what I thought was a video and editing class, like, you know, and it was an intro to interactive media. And it's essentially how to create a successful YouTube channel. And so with that, I had a buddy that was doing some underwater stuff in Columbus, like fishing, underwater, like, you know, and we, his name was Jake, the Almighty or whatever. He's huge on YouTube now, but.
Shout out Jake.
Yeah, shout out the Almighty.
But this is probably, what, 8-9 years ago?
This was 16 or 17. 2016, 17.
So 8 years ago. So YouTube wasn't even thought of to be like a sustaining career to.
Yeah, people were doing it, but like I had no idea about it.
Yeah.
So before the course, we had been diving I went and bought like a $20 Mass Snorkels fin kit from Dick's. And my buddy Brandon was like, dude, you got to come and see these giant fish in the river. And I'm like, heck yeah, like, let's go. So we just started diving to look at the giant stripers and the bass and the freaking catfish. And I was just like, I've always like loved the water, but I was like seeing all these fish where I have fished and not caught anything. I'm like, you freaking suckers. So fell in love with just seeing the fish and stuff like that. Well, my buddy started making these treasure videos, and he was like, y'all boys need to make a YouTube channel. We're like, no. Like, we're in college. Like, we don't have time for that. And then the class started. So we had to make a YouTube channel. And it was like, one project is like create a name, create a, you know, all this, a banner, all this stuff, you know. And so we had to make 3 videos. Coming out of the class, we had like 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers. And the teacher was like, you boys need to keep doing this. And we're like, what? Yeah, like, okay. And he's like, he had been teaching the class since the start of YouTube, which is crazy. He's like, I've never had, because me and Brandon were in the same class. And so
that's how you met Jiggin.
No, I met Jiggin through, we cheered in college together. So we met there, and then.
But y'all were in the same class.
We were roommates. And
I didn't know y'all went to school together.
Yeah, we were roommates, and I left for class, and I was a little late, and he left for class, and then I walk in, and he's in the same class. And so that we both started our YouTube channels at the same time.
Man.
Jeez.
What about Jake?
Jake was already making YouTube.
How did you meet him, though?
Brandon met him at the river.
Oh.
Brandon was fishing at the river, saw a kid making some videos. Well, he was fishing at the river, ran into each other, created a friendship.
Wow.
And then Brandon brought me along on the diving stuff. And I was like, dude, this stuff is cool, you know? Mm-hmm. So then what the project was, you got to make 3 YouTube videos. Well, it wasn't hunting season. It wasn't anything like that. So I was like, all right, we can make some fishing videos, whatever. Like, this is just a class project. It's not going to go anywhere. So we make some diving videos, whatever. Jake ends up shouting us out. He only had like 100 or 200,000 subscribers at the time, and overnight we had 1,000 followers, you know. We're like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is this? Like, I call my parents, and they're like, what is going on, you know? So it came down to it, like, where, you know, we got up to like 40,000 subscribers, you know, 50,000, and we're getting all these different opportunities. And, you know, I had talked to my parents about dropping out, and they're like, no, you need to get a degree, blah, 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 blah. And then going into like my last semester of college, my parents were like, you know, I was like, I'm really thinking about chasing this dream. Like, I'm going to go and do it. And they were like, all right. So dropped out.
You had 1 semester left?
1 semester left. Dropped out of college and focused on that dream. And, you know, at the time, fishing and the diving stuff was hot. So we were just hitting it hard. And long story short, got up to 650,000 subscribers. We met at like 500,000 subscribers. And so during 2020, my channel got hacked and deleted. And there was nobody in the YouTube office because of what happened in 2020. You know, you don't even have to say, you can just say 2020 now. And so there was no help or anything like that. But they would come into office 1 day a week or something to that extent, and they were like, oh, we'll be able to get it back. We'll be able to get it back. Well, 4 months later, they're like, there's nothing you can do. And I'm like, just, you know, everything that I'd worked for 4 years was gone. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's start over, you know. And at the time, it's like, I think God takes you through things, and you can't see the end or why he's, you know, doing these things in your life, or why you might struggle a little bit, but then you might see it. I understand now. We started back. We're back at almost 400,000 subscribers, so not back yet, but it's still, we're still there, and still doing it. It's been like 4 years now, going on 4 years. So started over, and I was doing the diving stuff again, hit that real hard again, and we were cruising along. And you know, during the winters, I was hunting and filming my hunts, but it was just for memories, and I wasn't posting them because people were getting demonetized and all this crap. And I was just scared to, you know, essentially lose everything else again by posting hunting content. And so I was advised on not posting hunting content by some other creators and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. 3 years ago, it's going on 3 years ago, I was like very unhappy, mentally just not there. Like, it started to become a job, and when I was doing the diving stuff, and just very unhappy. And I was like, you know, I got to change something. And I know my true passion and my drive and what I really love is hunting. And this might be a crazy drastic, like my demographic or my subscribers might freak out. But I talked to my wife, Kinsey, and I was like, I need to do something different. And she was like, well, why don't you start posting hunting content? I'm like, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, give me 2 years. And let's see what we can do in 2 years. And if it doesn't work, then I'll go be a tree man like will probably end up being whenever I'm 50 years old. But so it turned out to be successful. And, and I think that what I said with when God, I think, takes you through allows you to go through some troubles. I think if I were to have never lost my channel, I never would have posted a hunting video because the channel would have gotten so big and I would have just been scared to lose all of that, right? Well, I was broke down to rock bottom and, I had no other way out as far as that's how I felt. So started posting the hunting content, been happier than I've ever been, mentally, physically, everything. And so now we're full on hunting and I love it to death.
That's hype.
So, yeah.
So kind of going back to what you told your parents as a child, because of the losing your channel, it enabled you to kind of
to follow that dream.
Follow that dream.
That 4-year-old dream, yeah. Or that little 4-year-old that wanted to have a hunting show or fishing show. Now I'm living out that dream.
That's special. Because you think about, we all have that dream or that moment where we're growing up as a kid. We say we want to be a certain thing, and then 9 times out of 10 we ended up not being that or doing that. But we said it from the heart back then, but because of life or our choices or our environment, we kind of get led into a certain direction and never remember that thought. So it's special when you can be able to truly get that. And what a great college class. Like how many college classes are just
I don't think they thought that 2 people that were about to graduate were going to drop out because of the course, but
but like what a great
did Brandon drop out too?
Yeah, he did. Before me. He was one of the leading factors. He's like, bro, you got to drop out. I'm like, dude, I'm so close to finishing. He's like, he has less credit hours than me to go.
I mean, instead of taking like a national park selective or a class that's just getting a credit, like how beneficial of
it's awesome
course back in the day.
Also, I think for people that are going through a hard time and maybe you've lost everything, like you could be right around the corner from living out your dream or even being, successful. So, even in my life, you did we give up too soon? Did we stop trying? Right.
Did we not try hard enough?
It could have been one day away, you know? So
what's it like doing the hunting? Because if you're doing the diving and stuff, you can do videos year round with that. Whereas
diving?
Hunting, right? No. But you can go to different places.
Yeah,
and travel
you can,
different places.
but most of the places are freezing cold.
Yeah, but you can still go to different climates and travel and stuff. But hunting's very seasonal.
There's pretty much something that you can hunt year round. Obviously, it's seasonal. And it's been a learning curve essentially, because like back when I was doing the diving, the summers were where it was hot, as far as like good views. And now it's like dead, which is understandable, which I get it. And it's totally flopped where my end of August into, January are good. And for a lot of creators, YouTube is like this, it's just, you got views, you don't got views, you got views, you don't got views, unless there's some creators that just, it doesn't matter what they put out. Yeah. But it's been good. I mean, chasing
you always can, divert back and have a special episode where you go back and do a dive or do something, you always got that in your back pocket.
Yeah. So. I kind of just haven't even looked back though. Yeah. Were
you passionate about the diving stuff at all?
I think so. I think I was, but I don't know if you've ever done something if you've ever gone so hard in something that you just got completely burnt out. I think I just completely got burnt out, and it wasn't a core passion or a core love. So I think I was able to get burnt out and just be done with it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it wasn't something that I truly, truly loved. I liked it a lot. And I don't think that I'll never dive again, but it's definitely I'm not even thinking about it, you know.
There's just being an outdoorsman in general and doing the underwater stuff is great, but to me especially, nothing duplicates being out in the woods or out in nature, secluded, doing your thing. That's a special thing that needs to be shared more.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be good.
Yeah, I think the hunters and the outdoorsman itself, just enjoying the outdoors. I think that's why it wasn't such a huge shock whenever I started posting the hunting content, because my demographic just happened to be outdoorsmen. And I think they were watching the diving videos because it was just a cool thing.
That's right.
But like when I remember some of the first few comments whenever I posted one of my very first hunting videos, and they're like, dude, where has this content been? And so it was a big sigh of relief. And so now it's, you know.
Because we the true outdoorsmen, we love that stuff so much that TV, Sportsman's Channel, etc., does not suffice.
Right.
There's not enough of that on TV, and there wasn't. So the YouTube stuff has been huge. So just having another solid platform that you're offering is just another great way to watch.
But also, you probably get to a point where people want to just support you. So even if you weren't doing diving anymore, if you were
they enjoy
building
my
your
content.
tiny house, they still want to watch you and support you along what you do. So you might have lost certain viewers, but a lot of the people who are there for you are going to stay and watch whatever you would do.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I'm grateful for all of my followers and subscribers to the ones that were freaking out whenever I lost my channel and stuff like that. Like I found out my channel was gone from a subscriber reaching out. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, and I go and check and it's just gone. And so being a creator, there's a lot of stress on you. People are like, man, you got the best job in the world. It's like, but you don't understand. I don't clock in and clock out. Mm-hmm. You know, the job's never done. Like some days I want to just go and cut grass. Like I will go pick up one of my dad's lawnmowers, cut grass just so I can finish a job and say like, that was nice, you know? Because for YouTube, it's like you create a video, on to the next one. Yep. Or, you know, you're in the middle of creating a video and you're like, what can we do next? And the video's not even finished, you know? So
that's right.
It's never ending, it's a complete blessing. I would never, I'm not trying to have a pity party, oh, pity me. It's not. It definitely is a lot more stressful than a lot of people would think, being a creator, especially a one-man, you know. I bounce ideas off my wife, not, you know, a business partner, you know, so it's like.
But that's the most organic, and that's the way to be. I think.
Yeah.
I like it that way.
So, yeah, I've enjoyed it, and never would I've ever thought that I would be making videos for people to watch. It's the craziest thing, and I'm just a good old boy who likes hunting and fishing and hanging out and doing fun stuff and videoing it and trying to bring people along and make them feel, when you're watching the video, I hope that they feel that they were there with us almost. And maybe just maybe like 1% or 10% of people are like, man, maybe I should try to hunt, or maybe I should try to go and fish, or maybe I should take some time to, you know, take my kid in the outdoors. Like if that happens, I feel like I won. And so when you see these kids, you know, like if you go to Bass Pro Shop or whatever, and like you'll have kids come up and say, hey, like, it's still, you know, I've been doing it for 8 years now or something like that. And it's still just like, I get chills every time a kid comes up and is like, hey, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, God, it just still doesn't make sense to me. So the Lord has truly, truly blessed me and my family and my friends. And I'm just thankful to be where I'm at, you know.
Definitely. And just being, having that creative thought process. And I'm right there with you as far as, you're always working. When someone here says, hey, part-time to me, you know, because I'm here, there, and everywhere, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I'm thinking about, like I'm thinking right now what I'm going to post as soon as we get done. I'm like, there's going to be an hour gone, and I'm already should have posted something.
Yeah.
But just having that creative thought process, I think just kind of helps you and builds you up. And like you said, just getting people that you impact in whatever way is,
especially for Wild Willies. Like I can't imagine the gratitude that you build out a truck and someone sees it and they come and buy it and that's their dream truck. Like that's
everything.
Amazing.
It's everything.
That's like amazing.
When we're looking at this Shelter Green Raptor sitting here, it's like I'm taking time every day to appreciate that truck sitting there, because it's not, to a lot of people it's just another custom truck that we did, but like one of the best ever, and it's sitting right there, and we made it happen.
Yeah.
So
well, that's how. Whenever I had no idea Wild Willies existed, and I bought a truck and was trying to get I wanted my truck to look good and didn't know where to go, how to go, what to do, and messaged you how many years ago? 4 years ago? 5 years ago, something?
4 or 5, yeah.
And just happened to see a Wild Willies post on Instagram, and I was like, that's how I want my truck to look. And then you made my dreams come true. Well, you and Brad.
Right. So Brad, just you being local and kind of showed him where your channel was at and what kind of content you had. It kind of drew him in. It piqued his interest.
Right.
And so us being able to do that for a local kid that is just really putting out genuine good content was like a no-brainer for him.
Yeah.
So I will never forget doing all that and having that is real special. But then just we're all friends now.
Yeah.
Getting to hang out so much is just even better. It's not just about the business side of things. So Tristan's truck currently has no AC, right? His AC went out. Yeah. He has the baddest Covert Edition F-150. It's a bad boy, but no AC right now. So we still have real problems here in our lives.
yeah. Like I'm driving Jesse over to my left, ripped me off, and I bought my wife. I bought my wife a car because we just had our first baby, and she was driving around a Camry, and so I ended up buying her a car for just a mom car, first mom car.
Yep.
And so I've been driving around that, luckily. But, dude, I had to drive it. I drove my truck yesterday.
Hot, wasn't it?
I had pit stains. I mean, my back was wet. It was bad. But, so, yeah, we all still live a real life, you know, and I still have major troubles. So
I need baby updates, family updates from both of y'all. So
we, my first son, Koa, he's going to be 4 months old July 4th. And it's been great. He sleeps great. He's a little bundle of joy. He's a little wild man, though. I think he's going to be a very aggressive person. He's funny. But, yeah, mama's doing good. Baby's doing good. That's all I can ask for.
As far as how much your life has changed in the past 3 years, 4 years.
We talked about this. Well, me and Jesse talked about. He's like, "Well, how's it been since being a dad?" And I was like, "Man, I
think nothing's changed.
I feel like nothing's changed. We have such a good support system. I have 2 sets of parents. Kenzie's parents. We have 2 sets of grandparents or great grandparents. So we have a ton of help. I can make one phone call if we need a little extra sleep, And
they're all within close proximity?
Oh, yeah, 15 to 20 minutes. So
that's huge.
Everybody's close, and that's what we wanted, is to have, all of our family in Koa's life. And so it's been great so far. But other than the only thing that's really, really changed is, obviously like wanting to be home more. Obviously when I would go on trips and stuff, I would want to get home to see my wife. But now I'm willing to come home a few days early because we got a baby and a wife, to take care of. So it's definitely changed in that way, like hunting trips where I would just, like, for instance, I was in Kentucky hunting and I'd been there for 5 days, and you get 2 turkey tags. I killed the first turkey, and usually I would have stayed and killed another turkey, but I was like, I'm accomplished. Let's go home to baby and mama. So that's definitely changed in that aspect of now I got to try to plan stuff out and, just be a little bit more responsible.
It's just it's a totally different love that you didn't experience. So of course you love your wife, but just having a child, you feel a total different appreciation and type of love.
Yeah.
For life and your child, obviously.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
you really can't, and we can't explain it to anyone that doesn't have a child. No. You just have to experience it.
And everybody says that, before the baby was born, everybody's like, dude, things are about to change, and I'm like, okay, and it has. I can't even describe the love that you have for your kid. It's totally different. And just looking down and you see, yourself or your wife and that kid, it's wild. And I can't even imagine how, like, your son right now is dang near an adult.
It's crazy.
And, so that's really cool. We're in the not even crawling, sitting on his stomach, rolling over stage, but I can't wait for the the stages of, taking them hunting for the first time and, fishing or whatever. So that's what I'm really, really excited about. But what about you, Jess?
Jess, you got a double dose.
Dude. Mine are 2.5 and 1.5, and they're exactly 12 months apart. And so but it's been really cool because my daughter, because she was 1 when he was born, I think he started seeing her early, doing things. So it challenged him to start crawling earlier and walking earlier than our daughter did. He's definitely a lot more aggressive than she is.
Yeah.
But and he's way too dramatic for his no fear that he has. So he will jump off of things because he has no fear, but then he cries for a while because it bothered him.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome. We have both a boy and a girl, and it's the most fun. And you get to see the differences in their personalities too.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of what it helped me realize when we had kids was that it helped me, I think, feel stronger with the Lord, because I started seeing oh, this child does nothing for me, but I love it so much because it can't do anything for me. It can't talk to me yet. It can't, hang out. It can hang out with me, but it can't do anything else. But I love this kid so much, and it made me think, oh, I bring nothing to the table, but he loves me so much.
It shows you how Christ loves us.
Yep.
We bring nothing to the table, but he dies on the cross for us and loves us even when we turn our back on him, And it's your kids could do whatever they want, and you would still love them to death.
I really think it's the greatest blessing that life has to offer, is to have a child and experience that and feel that, to come full circle. And the way the world is these days, they're trying to push on to, especially women these days, of it's career first, not family first. And I feel like that's just part of the wrongdoings of the world. And if we can all get back and experience, it's the money doesn't matter, the job doesn't matter, none of this matters, but being fruitful and multiplying and experiencing that, to me, has got to be the greatest.
Yeah. I told Kinsey right after we were heading home from the hospital, and just like everybody, I'm a Christian, but I still struggle, every day. And sometimes you feel very close to God, and sometimes you feel very distant. And I think that having a child as a Christian and seeing that process and seeing that miracle and seeing that baby come out, and just how women are able to do what they do, props to them. But that just that's the closest I've ever felt to God, is being in that hospital, seeing just the miracle of that baby come out, and what my wife was able to do and stuff like that. So, or not what my wife was able to do, but what the Lord was able to bless us with. So it's a powerful thing having kids, and it's a very intimate and very awesome thing. So I'm super thankful.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I loved before we had kids, the time with my wife, but I truly believe that having kids, my life is so much better with kids than without kids.
That's what
it is.
We were told, spend 2 years together once you're married and just enjoy each other and then have kids. And that's what we did. And it was the most awesome 2 years of our lives, and then now it's just, I can't imagine not having, Koa there, so.
And I look at Brady, and I'm like, my blood and Kristen's blood is running through Brady's veins. It just it's a closeness and a feeling
it's
that
weird.
It's another level. So all the great parents out there, just keep on rocking and be
It's
appreciative.
also weird because you are super young at heart and everything, but you have a kid who's about to graduate high school. What's that feel like? I can't believe
it. I mean, I'm 39 and I've got a senior.
Yeah,
got a senior.
Because I'll be in the same boat with you when I'm 39. I'll have a 16 and 17-year-old.
I see it from both spectrums, because my parents had me when they were 30, and I had Brady when I was 20. So it's just I see it on both spectrums of, getting a lot of time together initially versus I wouldn't change anything because Brady was so young and I was still young, but I had so much energy.
Yeah.
I still would have poured everything into him, but just being young with him, We were two peas in a pod. Yeah. Just everything. We were right there together. We grew up together.
Yeah. So my mom was 16 when she had me.
Oh, geez.
And so we literally grew up together. So my parents are, she's like 44. So my mom and my stepmom, and my stepdad are all 40, low 40s. And then I don't know how old my dad is, but it was like, it's kind of crazy to think. I always wanted to be a young parent. I think I'm going to be a little bit of an older dad now because I had my first at 28. But, at least I look only like I'm 24. So
I'm the only child. So, in my mind at 15, 16, 17, I'm like, I want a child. Maybe not as quick as I had Brady, but I was like, I want a child. I want a son I can pour into. And it's what I asked for. And I got it. It's like, how thankful am I? But when we're in our 20s, we think we know everything at the time, but then we get like, Jesse's way more advanced than I was.
Yeah.
Way more mature. For his age, like when I hit 30, I was like, I really was immature in my mid 20s.
I'm so immature, you have no idea. I'm so immature, it's not even funny.
But to an extent, in 5 years, you'll look back and say, man, I'm so much more mature than I was 5 years ago.
I think the immaturity in men, though, will never fully leave.
Mm-hmm. No.
And I think when it does, it's like, you're old.
Yeah,
you're there.
Yeah.
But
I noticed that the other day when I was driving Sean's truck and I had the train horn, how immature I was, because I live on a golf course, and I just wanted, like, every time I drove by one of the holes and somebody's like putting or driving, I wanted to blast it. And so I did a few times to some people. My wife would be like, "Would you stop doing that? Like, no more." And I was like, "Come on." And she's like, "I know, but it's kind of immature." And I was like, and so I realized, I was like, I could never have a vehicle with a train horn because I would get shot.
It's just guys doing guy things. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was pretty fun. I blasted it so much.
Vehicle wise, so your truck, even with no AC, still a banger. But what is Yappy's dream truck?
I love how we keep talking about it has no AC.
Just crapping on me.
Beautiful truck. The hottest crap in there.
Yeah, you can't afford it. You can't afford. No, I'm trying to get it fixed right now, but I mean, there was another dealership, Akins Ford, wasn't Akins, but Akins is so busy with everything they couldn't get it in till August, so I took it somewhere else, and they were like $2,500, and I was like, I'll take my truck back. I'll just be hot.
I can take showers after.
Yeah, like I'd rather just ride where I'm going with no shirt on and then towel off. So funny. I got a story real quick. So I bought that truck when I was 21 years old. My very first truck I ever bought. My very first vehicle that I ever got was a 91 Ranger, 5-speed. No AC, no heat, no speedometer, no fuel gauge. Nothing. No radio, no nothing. You had as fast as you could go, that's about your AC that you'd get. Yeah. And in the winters, I'd wear like my hunting coveralls to school. So I had that truck, and then my parents bought me a Frontier like right before, when I graduated high school, so I could get back to college, because I would break down. I had to keep a 5-gallon gas tank on the back of that 91 Ranger. We called it the Danger Ranger. And I kept a 5-gallon, but I would forget, high school kid, you forget, and I would run out of gas everywhere. I didn't even have a mileage, so I couldn't even clock my odometer.
Yeah.
I couldn't even clock my odometer, be like, I'm about to run out of gas. It was just like, you would be driving, and then it would run out of gas. Yeah. And like no speedometer, so I had to guess on what I was going, So it was horrible. But I'm super thankful for that, because when I got the Frontier, I treated it with love, and then that didn't have AC. So I never had AC in a vehicle until I was 21 years old when I bought my vehicle. And now it's out again, and I just feel like I'm that 16-year-old kid driving around a beater.
It's good to have that perspective, though.
No, absolutely.
That perspective's. I would hate to be a kid from a wealthy family where you had problems that weren't really problems.
Well, I had a 1983 Scottsdale given to me from a buddy from church, and then we kind of fixed it up and gave it a new paint job and some stuff, but it didn't have a working gas gauge. and no AC or nothing, and it had a hot vinyl bench seat. And so in the summertime, I wore like a different shirt to church, and then I changed shirts because I would sweat through whatever shirt I was wearing. And you had triangle windows too that I'd have to prop open. Yeah. And like one time
God
in the
forbid
summer,
it's ever raining.
Oh Lord, dude, it's a wash. But one time in the summer, I had them closed, and it got so hot inside the cab that it busted one of the triangle windows. And so, but to your point, like I ran out of gas all the time. And so I eventually got a working gas gauge, but like, the first couple months I had that truck, I ran out probably 6 or 7 times. And it's embarrassing too. Like,
no, I'll tell you this, pulling up on like a date when you're in high school and you're like, this is what I'm riding. It's like, man, you know, but going back to it, like I would never change it. You know, that being miserable at that age. And, you know, my parents were very work for what you get. And like for instance, I bought my very first shotgun at 10 years old. It was $218 from Bass Pro Shop, and it was a single shot 20 gauge. And I still got it. I bought my second shotgun, and I saved up for my first bow, my first compound bow. I'm 12 years old. Saved up $250 to buy a diamond bow from Bass Pro Shop, the ones that are already rigged out. Yep. Picked it out, and this is like leading up to hunting season. I'm like, I'm hunting this year with a bow, you know, 12 pounds, maybe pulling back 30 pounds, and save up the $250. We go to Bass Pro Shop, we're going to buy it, but we go to the movies first. I lose my wallet. No. Go, pick up the bow, we're getting it set up. My dad's like, you ready to pay? Don't have my wallet. And the bow got put back on the shelf.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah. So I always worked for what I wanted and stuff, but yeah, so it's when you work hard for what you get, it makes it that much more special. So
how old were you when you killed your first deer?
I think I was 13 or 14. My first deer was 7. So, and that was with a gun, obviously, but yeah, first bow kill with a bow. So we were hunting behind my buddy's house. And, you know, we had been practicing. I had this little Browning. We bought it from my cousin. I still have it. It was a single pin set, and it was for 20 yards. That's it.
That was it.
But I could shoot it out to 50 and we were hitting quarters at 45 yards. That's how much I would shoot. And so I was just obsessed with it as a kid. And so then started bow hunting. And we're just behind my buddy's house, and the grass was high, and these does come in, and I could, you know, I'm just all amped up. We're like, all right, let's shoot one. And I shoot the doe, and she came in by herself. Like there was like 3 does behind her, but the first doe came in, and she's eating like the little food plot that we had planted. I don't even know if it was really working, but it's probably just all weeds. And I shoot, and she disappears. She was so small, she fell in the grass. But I was so amped up. I thought this is probably a year or 2-year-old doe. I was all of 95 pounds. I had my climber on my back. I had my bow in my hand, and I had the doe holding her like this.
Oh, my gosh.
But I was just so amped up, you know. It didn't matter what came in. I was shooting it. But that's a funny story. So.
Good times. So going back to vehicle-wise, what's your dream vehicle? Is it that Ford Raptor? Is it a Super Duty? What would be your dream truck? Nothing exotic, just kind of what?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
he almost had a Super Duty. He almost bought one.
We're getting off top. We'll talk about it in a second. For a long time, I wanted an F-250.
Yeah.
But for the suburban hunting and stuff, it kind of just my dream setup would be have an F-250 so I can do what I need to do as far as pulling and hauling and stuff like that, and then have like a Ranger, you know. But right now, just, you know, your F-150 is like
solid.
Yeah, like and I've even moved away. Like my truck is a beef. It's not 2. It's a 3.5 inch. So it's not much, but the big tires and offset. Like I still love that and love the look of it, but I think I'm going more towards the old man, the Bubba look you call.
The more conservative.
Is that what you call it?
The Bubba.
Yeah. Like ranch hand on the front, you know, but so.
Well, Lee started hunting out of that Element, didn't he?
Dude, I think so it didn't have AC either.
But he was like sleeping in that thing sometimes.
Yeah, it was rough. So he shortly after stopped doing that. I think he made one trip and then stopped.
We were talking with them about jazzing that thing up, making it more usable, putting maybe a little TV in there or something so that it can be utilized a little better.
Yeah, that thing it's a cool thing, but golly, it's so ugly. And now he has he's got Hello Kitty stickers all over it. It's horrible. But when you're hunting the suburbs, you want to try to blend in. Yeah. And I do not blend in right now.
So is your plan for this hunting season, are you doing more public land, private land, or suburban type? Like, what's going to be your plan?
So a lot of suburban, but I'm an opportunist. If something comes up, I'm not going to turn it down, So, but I had one of the biggest bucks I was ever hunting in Ohio, and I did some door knocking. And so door knocked, got permission at 2 or 3 spots, and came home. I was going up and corning those spots, making 9-10 hour drives. And the giant shows up. He daylights. I'm like, all right, I'm there. I show up, and the homeowner's like, yeah, we're getting some stuff remodeled. I'd appreciate it if you just didn't hunt this week. And I'm like, I already I'm sitting at my hotel looking at my trail camera, and he's there every day. I'm like, oh my gosh. So just heartbreaking. So this year eventually, I don't know how long I think the suburban game is, or suburban hunting, it definitely will always hold a special part in my heart, because you can just, for your average person, you can get off, or not average person, but people that work, a 9 to 5, you can get off and go and hunt. In your backyard, or, someone that you have permission. So that's really, really cool. And it's, there's obviously some giant deer in the suburbs, but I would love to own a bunch of land one day. But I'm also getting into leasing land. I'm trying to lease in a few different big buck states where I can go, I can drive up, and I can do whatever I want while I'm there, because, I've paid for it. So this year I'm in a big lease in Oklahoma, and it's got ducks, it's got deer, it's got pigs, it's got everything. And so I'll be spending a lot of time out there, but hitting Tennessee hard, Ohio hard, Georgia obviously hard, and trying to put as many deer on the ground as possible.
I like what you just said, in that you're trying a little bit of everything, and I think they're all different in their own right. So if you're just a suburban hunter, you're missing out on the larger acres tracts where hunting's a little bit different. Yeah. And just I guess the experience. Are you hunting with a home that you can see within proximity, or are you hunting where you can't hear a vehicle anywhere near? I think all of that's good.
Yeah, no, I think here's the thing. What I heard this on somebody else's podcast. If you talk to 1,000 anti-hunters, they will all be on the same page. No hunting, we don't like hunting. But if you talk to 1,000 hunters, whether you're suburban, whether you hunt big woods, whether you hunt private or public, as you talk to 1,000 hunters, you'll talk to 1,000 hunters, and everybody will be bashing everybody. Not everyone, but a lot of people. If you post a picture of a deer and they know you killed it in the suburb, oh, you killed pet deer. If you posted it and you kill a 200-inch deer somewhere on a big lease of land, and you worked your butt off to be able to create this deer, oh, you spent too much money. If you killed it on public, oh, don't tell people about your. It's like if everybody in the hunting community could come together, we'd be able to conquer whatever we want. But everybody's bashing everybody, and we can't be on one page. So then it's just tearing the hunting community down even more. My thing is, as long as you're hunting and doing it legally, whether you want to go and hunt a high fence, whether you want to go and hunt the suburbs, whether you want to go hunt public, big woods, whether you were born into a rich family and you have thousands of acres to hunt, as long as you're hunting, that's what it's all about. That's what our God-given right to be able to do. And until we as hunters and outdoorsmen get on the same page, we're just going to keep tearing each other down. In the world that we live in right now, this is a gift that we have.
It is.
And it can be taken away. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is like, we should be uplifting one another, however you have hunted or however you have fished or whatever. Is if we don't come together, we might lose this.
That's right.
So that's what I wish, some hunters would change their outlook a little bit.
And no matter what type of hunter you are, you're contributing, hopefully, to the betterment of the environments and the deer herd and population by managing your property or feeding deer or whatever. The people that are against hunting, they're doing nothing to help the herd or population.
Right. So, and that's the other thing. Like, a lot of anti-hunters believe that, you're killing this animal. It's like, you don't understand how bad Mother Nature is. You don't understand what these animals have to go through. I'd rather an animal, not to mention in the suburbs, I'd rather an animal be taken by an arrow or in certain areas, a gun, than get hit on the side of the road and rot. And that meat goes nowhere.
That's right.
So
some of these are dying. Like, some of these big bucks are fighting other big bucks and then getting stuck together, and then
there's a ton of things. Die, there's a lot of deer that die, from starvation. The population in Atlanta has been booming, in Tennessee, all these other places, to the point where there's a ton of food right now. Everything's green, right? But in the winter, especially in the harsh places where it gets super cold, there's not enough food for these deer, especially in Atlanta, especially in Tennessee. And without contributing to managing these populations, I mean, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and to the point where, right now there's 30,000 to 40,000 deer getting hit a year in Georgia alone. Now, if those populations aren't controlled by hunting, it gets worse. And then on top of that, you have a bunch of unhealthy deer.
Especially in Georgia, being able to kill 12 deer in a season. In some states, that's unheard of.
So Tennessee is 3 a day.
Really?
Does. God, 3 does a day. That's how bad the population is.
That shows you the populations.
Yeah.
And as far as quality of deer, I've never seen Georgia be this good. As far as just quality of size of big bucks is superior for sure.
Yeah. Georgia is, I think, is slowly but surely becoming a sleeper state,
Big time.
And as long as you fall around Lee Ellis, you'll find a big deer.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding. Lee I think he's probably one of the best hunters in the world right now.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
His wherewithal to, first of all, be able to go out and door knock with a non-salesy approach, but just be a gentleman about it.
He's such a likable guy. You almost hate to You're like, gosh, this guy's so nice.
Lee, we have become really, really good friends, but he's one of those guys where I'm like, I love you, but I hate you.
Right. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. Not truly hate, but no, Lee has been awesome. And he's, I would not be where I am today in the hunting world or even my suburban, how far I've come in the suburban hunting world without Lee. Lee Ellis is really, kind of, I don't want to say taking me under his wing, but, through our friendship, he's always been guidance. But I try to, whenever we do hang out, not talk about deer. But it's kind of hard when that is your life, So me and a few buddies, he loves Fortnite. We play Fortnite a good bit. I haven't played since Koa born, but yeah, that's what we, do you play video games or anything? Mm-hmm. Dude, I love
really
it.
Just that whole Seek One gang, and then Jay as well. Just everybody that's I've come in contact with that's a part of that group and clique are all just good folks.
Yeah, no, and I say Lee. I'm probably the closest with Lee, but I'm really good buddies with Kendall and Drew. And I've grown a lot from them in my hunting. I think as soon as you think you know everything in the hunting world, you're already 5 steps behind.
That's right. Well, and
that's with everything.
You've helped me. Like I used to pick your brain all the time, and still do, about questions about YouTube or filming or whatnot. So just buddies helping buddies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have the belt last month?
In April.
Mm-hmm. Who had it this past month?
Jake had it in
May. We need to go get that bad boy. We should have had it in here today and presented it to you. It's July 1st. But Cash Money, he shattered
all-time record, baby. Come on.
He shattered his prior record. So tell us what your accessory total was for June.
It's like 220,000, which is crazy because that is just accessories. And so, I mean, my total for last year was $366,000, and just for the month of June, it was almost 20 grand. It might have been a little bit more than 220.
So just
but my one before that, my best was in April. I had 141,000, and that was like, holy cow, that's unbelievable.
In perspective, if a dealership can sell $100,000 in accessories in a month, that's a win for the dealership.
Right.
most average dealerships.
Yeah.
And you
that's nuts.
More than double that just by yourself.
I had 3 $50,000+ builds last month.
And they're all special.
Yeah.
All of them were special.
Yeah. And then a Raptor R and a few other ones that were,
Talk about Sean,
crazy.
The most recent one.
Yeah, Sean's was wild too. That was a complete color change truck. We painted the entire truck blue. They don't even make a color anymore. So we ordered a black truck and painted it blue. And it was his first truck ever that he had. It was his first truck he had ever bought, and it was a F350 trimmer and E-Venture kit, Innovate wheels. It was unbelievable.
It's crazy what people will spend on vehicles. Crazy.
And we're still not taking it light when we say.
And I'm not taking. I hope that doesn't come off like I can't believe people are doing this with their vehicles.
No.
Like I'm just like, man, like y'all do some crazy stuff.
A $10,000 accessory build to me still is like that's a lot of money.
Yes.
That's a big build.
Yes.
Well, and I wish I didn't think it was. Or it wasn't anymore, because this is the only dealership I've ever been at. So I've never been anywhere else. This is the only place I know, and so. But it was crazy when it was. I remember the first $100,000 truck I sold, and I couldn't believe it. I was blown away.
Yeah.
And now it happens at least once a month.
Yeah, that's what's nuts. Y'all are definitely levels above here at Wild Willies.
Like 30
and Akins, just Akins in general. Yeah. First off. Let's set that there.
Number one in the country.
Yeah.
I think in May. And I think in June too.
Should be.
We should be.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you have just a very efficient way to get your truck done up however you want to do it. If you want it blue to black or black to blue, or if you wanted it, it's nuts. Some of the stuff y'all like the truck with the matching
the semi, the one that matches the semi.
That is crazy.
Danny Maddox.
Yep. Yeah. That was his customer also.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff just fires me up because literally we're making someone's dream come true. Like both of them, Sean's as well, just making their what they've always thought wasn't possible.
Yeah. Well, you grew up in Winder, right? Mm-hmm. So it's probably crazy to be in the same town that you grew up and also see the number one Ford dealer in Georgia. This place is crazy.
Yeah, you drive by and you can kind of tell. You drive by any other, just like even any other dealers around here, you're like, they got a few cars. But here it's like slam packed. And if they don't have it, we'll get it, That's what's crazy. And what's even crazier is I grew up with the owner's daughter, and, they're
shout out to Madison.
Yeah. So it was, I had no idea who she was until I was like, wait, Akins? Oh, okay. Pretty crazy.
It is. As far as hunting this year, what bow are you shooting? We can't tell yet.
I'm not working with anybody, but I've shot Matthews since I was like 15 years old, and I would love to always keep shooting Matthews, but I'm shooting the Lift, 29.5, and she is.
Are you sponsored by Matthews?
No,
not
yet.
So I would love to. I was Hoyt for a while. I've shot Bowtech in the past also. I'm on Matthews now. My son and I both. My son's shooting a Phase 4.
Yeah.
I'm 2 years prior to that, the VX.
I was the
V3?
V3X.
V3X.
Yeah. So the V3X I shot.
That's what I have.
And I absolutely love that bow. And I'm the type of person that's like, if it's working, I don't like changing it, And so, but, it was time for me to get a new bow this year. So I decided to shoot the Lift. And that's the thing. I think in a lot of different ways, like for instance, the bow companies right now, everybody's on their game. They're
so close,
And I think that goes into trucks as well. Like
it does.
You can't I'm a Ford guy through and through, but Chevys, GMCs, Dodge, they're all close.
The person that's a diehard Ford guy that hates on Chevy with no validity, just because he don't like.
That's
hating on it.
Yeah.
Just like hate on it. Could just say they make a good product. I just hate them still.
Right.
It's like Georgia and Alabama type. The bows are the same way. They're so marginally different. It's just kind of what fits you the best. You want a smoother draw.
Yeah.
Or what is you like? You more of a speed bow. It's just kind of what suits you the utmost. Same thing for arrows. Every part of archery can be dissected in so many different ways. But just the and then every year when the bows come out, they're just a little bit better. Or
Yeah.
you got that one new feature that just makes you want. The vehicles are the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will you solo film a lot?
That's so a lot of the spots. Well, the hardest thing that I've come in the filming world is like you can find a good camera guy, but they also got to know how to hunt. You know, that's a totally different. So I'd rather have somebody that knows how to hunt, and I can teach them how to run a camera. But so in turn, like last year, I would say 80 to 90% of my hunts were self-filmed.
Really?
And then like once we're on the ground, like in the tree, it's self-filmed. And I think that's the easier way to go. It would be a lot easier to have a camera guy in the tree, but you got to think a deer shows up, I'm gone. You know, a deer shows up in Atlanta, or if he shows up in, you know, Ohio, I'm leaving the next day to go.
Yep.
So it's sometimes hard that's what's hard to have, you know, like a filmer, you know, in certain aspects, because it's so go, especially with deer, because they're there. They could be there for a day, you know, or they could be there for.
Especially if you have a mature buck in front of you. If your filmer is not a hunter, the chances of him messing up
makes it even harder.
Well, I was gonna say, but if you're got a mature big buck in front of you, but you're also like, this is great content, I got to make sure that you can see the deer or have some type of visibility there. Like that's got to be.
Oh, it's super stressful.
Trying to be quiet.
You have to
trying
get the
be
shot.
low
Like
visibility,
if you don't have the shot, you don't take the shot.
I'm gonna take the shot.
You're saying if you don't have the shot,
like
with
on
the camera, you
camera,
don't take the shot.
A lot of people, if they don't have the shot with the camera, they don't take the shot with the bow.
So,
but that's crazy too, because I've seen like Lee and Drew or Kendall or whatever at times, like you can't see the deer, but you know, like, okay, I know it's about right here, and I know they're gonna take the shot.
I think like people are more and more like, you get it. Like some of these deer, you might have a chance at. You might have one chance. So it's like, am I gonna? I think sometimes, you know, the camera gets put to the leeway, and you just got to make sure that you take an accurate and lethal shot.
That's your maybe one opportunity ever.
And like we've already shown you the whole process of doing all this, and you've been around, and you know the deer gets shot. It's like, yeah, you want to see the kill on camera, but at the same time, it's like, we did it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the YouTube game has kind of changed that. Now, obviously, that is your number one goal, is to get that on camera.
But you're not always going to have this like beautiful.
Yeah, it's not always going to be perfect.
Shot.
Just because they are wild animals. You can't be like, hey, can we rerun that? Like, walk back one more time. I need to get a better shot, you know. So I try not to make it all about the kill shot. You know, obviously that's, if you get it, you're like, whoo, let's go. But yeah, I would say like late season in Georgia and a lot of different places, there are no leaves on the trees. It's very hard to hunt with two people in a stand.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of impossible, but not impossible. A lot of people do it. But in certain scenarios, I will have a camera guy. In certain scenarios, I would not.
Has Thomas Clements ever filmed with you?
I've been around Thomas when he's filming with the Sequon boys, but
he seems solid.
Oh, he's probably one of the best in the industry right now.
Yeah.
Well, that boy grew up hunting. You can tell by listening to him. He did.
And a phenomenal editor.
Yeah, and I think he's come a long way. Like he has crafted he's an artist through and through.
Definitely.
So it was cool to see how he's come up from where he was the first day. I think I was filming with Lee and Drew the very first day he was on the job.
Dang.
So that was pretty cool to see where he came from. But I don't know his backstory as far as like how he got into filming, because he was already good. So, but I know I was there when like one of his first days filming with Sequon, and now he's just killing the game.
Killing it.
Yeah. Is watching Sequon encouraging, knowing like, because they got a huge following now.
Yeah.
So is that encouraging, going like, when you made the transition from diving to hunting, going like, I know that this platform can grow to even bigger than it was before?
I didn't look at it when I did switch over. I wasn't looking at it as numbers or views or anything like that.
Strictly just what you wanted.
Strictly, I needed mental.
Yeah.
What I needed this for me.
Needed change.
Yeah, and if it worked, that's why I said I gave myself 2 years. Me and my wife gave it 2 years. If it works, then that's great. But I had to change something. So, but yeah, like, I mean, I have my friends in this space. I think, like we talked about, bouncing ideas off each other. And if you're not ever learning, if you're not, I don't know if I said that right, but if you're not always learning in this space and watching other people and seeing how to talk, like, even though I've been doing this 8 years, I'm still learning how to talk to a camera better, or tell a story better, or film this way, or, you know, and it'll always be changing. You kind of find your blueprint of how you want to do things, but I watch the Seek One Boys. I watch Brandon. I watch, you know, the Hunting Public. I watch Chris B. Even if I don't watch a video, I'll play it so they can get a view. You know, you take different things from everybody, and you're learning always. But you know, I've luckily, this wasn't a strategy thing by any means. Like, I became friends with Lee and them, and then how we became even better and better friends is I was going, and when they didn't have a camera guy, I would go and film for them and just help. Like, I loved seeing deer. I loved hunting that much that I would just go and film from them. And inherently, I started learning more and more on how to be more successful in the suburban woods and just as a hunter in general. But that wasn't my goal. I wasn't like, I'm going to go and film for Lee so that way I can learn how Lee. No, I was like, he's my boy. I know he's going to probably kill a big deer. So, like, let's go film it, you know? And so, I don't know. I love that aspect of just life in general, but, you know, in the social media space is just learning. And I never thought that 8 years down the road, I'd still be like, still crafting, you know.
And I think it's going to be a never-ending cycle.
No, never.
It's going to be something's always going to be something we have to adapt to or change to. And like pursuing, the thing I'm taking away from this is pursuing not necessarily maybe your passion, but what your interest or what your dreams are, because you say pursue your passion, but you may not truly be passionate about it because you're not good at it yet. So if you have interest or a dream of doing something,
a passion can grow. Yeah. A dream is always there.
Yep.
And I think you have to be realistic in certain aspects, but, you know, I think at the end of the day in life is you surround yourself with good people, you work hard, and you follow your dreams and what turns into your passion, or you could be already passionate about it. Follow those things and stay close with the Lord. I think you can go wherever you want.
You're going to win.
Yeah.
You're going to win.
And it might not
eventually.
Yeah, it might not be your, you know, I have friends in the YouTube world that make millions and millions of dollars, and that's their win. My win is making content for people and really just being able to look back and see videos and remember those memories. Like, I have buddies that like my good friends that are not in the YouTube space, and they hate being on camera. But once they see the video and once they see that memory, like, there's things that you forget. And so looking back on it, like, that's what I enjoy. I've never been about, you know, obviously money drives a lot of people. It drives me now to be able to take care of my family, but as long as my family's taken care of and I'm happy and I'm mentally okay, whether that be whatever money amount, you know, I'm okay.
That's a win.
Yeah. And so everybody's win is different and everybody's success is different. So you can't look at somebody that's making $1 million and be like, why am I not there? You know, it's like, just stay your course. And if that's God's plan for you, then that's
right. Yeah, I know several millionaires that are not happy.
Right. You know? And then, you have some of the richest people in the world are not happy people. So I think if you can kind of just work hard, keep your head down, and be happy, that's the biggest part.
That's something I can say I definitely recognized from you, was that, like, money's not your driving factor.
Yeah.
And that was, like, probably, I know it sounds funny, but, like, when we ordered your 250 a couple years ago, and you were like, we talked about money for a second, and you were like, I work 6 months out of the year or 7 months out of the year, and I do fine, but, like, I could be making a whole lot more, but I still want to enjoy my life and stuff, you know? Yeah. And so, like, but you have your boys who make significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I know what I could be doing, but that's not like what that's not my driving factor.
Yeah. It's never been a super driving factor. And
because it's a tough teeter-totting thing to battle in your mind, because going next level to gain more status, income, etc., is things of this world. But when you got the family right here that you need to provide for them and take care of them, but like they're not of this world. They're from God, blessed from God. So it's like still trying to balance being fruitful enough to take care of them, but not be too far on this side of things is a struggle that we all have to deal with every day. But
I remember at first, like after we had that conversation, I was like, is this dude crazy? Because you could, right? You could pump out a buttload more
I could
videos
pump out content like
and not ever sleep and be freaking exhausted and be away from your family and traveling all the time and like miss that time and make a lot more money, or you could do what you're comfortable with doing and make a comfortable living. And I remember being like, what in the world? But the more I've got to know you, I'm like, oh, this dude's that's not like his driving.
Now it's totally changed, and I hate talking about money and stuff like that, but it is totally changed now because I want to give my son the childhood I didn't have. You know, my parents were young. We lived in a house with all my aunts and cousins, and moved to this trailer, moved here. I never went without, but I want to give I never want my son to need anything or want anything, but also have to teach him that's going to be a weird
that balance and dynamic, of course,
of you got to earn it and respect and stuff like that. So, but that's been my driving factor now is like I will work. I am working harder now than I ever have because I want to, set my son and my, if anything were to happen to me, that my wife and my son would be able to be moving into the hunting world. It's changed my life for the good. And
do you have a deer this year that you're like, you got to go down?
Yeah, I haven't gotten a picture of the deer. There's been a buck that I've been following for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I'm like, next year it'll be it. Next year it'll be it.
Is it the one in Ohio?
No, in Georgia. Oh. And then the big one in Ohio is alive. So it's just about.
And you low key have some Barrow County deer on lockdown too.
You can't say where I'm at.
Bro, he sent me a Walton County deer last year and was like, yeah, this one's. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big deer in Barrow County.
Oh, dude, there's a lot of big deer.
Everywhere.
Oconee
County. Oconee County, guys, and there's some big deer in Oconee County.
Yeah.
Too.
But no, I've been working pretty hard this year to find a mega. It's not a Lee Ellis mega, but it's a mega. So.
How big is this one or do you not want?
In Ohio?
Yeah.
I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I think he might be high 80s, maybe 90s.
Yeah. Are you? I know Ohio, but are you, when you're hunting in Georgia, are you going to be bow only, or are you going to hunt some places where you'll use your gun? Maybe.
Oh, I would. I want to try to take all of my bucks this year with a bow.
Yeah.
But like in Oklahoma, is you get a bow and a gun, or you can use them for both. Like.
I like, especially when we go to Kentucky every year, I like using a gun. Yeah. Some of those big plot areas.
Yeah, I'll bring both.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm an opportunist. I'm not like one of those bow hunters that's like, I'm a bow hunter only.
No.
Like,
me and my son have even hunted together, and I'll have a bow, he'll have a gun. And if we see,
exactly.
Whatever the opportunity arises.
That's another way that the hunting community fights each other is like, oh, you took one with a gun, boy, that ain't real hunting.
And that's the thing.
Come on now,
I enjoy shooting deer with a gun, but what gets me freaking going is letting that arrow go and seeing it hit where you want.
Nothing like it.
There's nothing like shooting a deer with a, like I can shoot a doe with a gun and not shake it all, but if I'm shooting her with a bow, I'm tore up.
Every time.
And it's awesome. So that's what I live for, chasing deer and animals with a bow. But like I just got back from Canada, hunted bears for 9 days and had to extend my flight and all this stuff. And I had a few chances with a bow, but just wouldn't work out. And so I was like, give me the gun, So.
Did you get one?
Yeah, and I could have shot it with my bow.
Really?
That's the way it works.
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
That's the way
awesome,
it works.
though?
Yeah, that's my second year going. And it's,
what part of Canada?
Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez. So when's that video coming out?
It's already out.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
See, I thought he was my boy. He's not my boy.
Send the link. Before we wrap this up, when can we expect to see a Bangers podcast in the near future,
no.
or is that going to come back at all? Or
me and Brandon are so far, we are still really good buddies, and we talk to each other all the time. But where our lives are at in the world, I can't. Like when we started, I was spending 2 weeks out of every month in Florida, filming for the podcast, and I don't know. I think it could come back, but not to the extent, not 2 podcasts a week every week like we were doing. So
maybe we can get him up here.
Yeah, I would love
Wasn't he just up here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't here. He was here a week or 2 ago. But yeah, I think there will be. It's just going to be kind of, you might get one here and there. I don't know. So
Possibly.
I would love to start it back up, but it was a lot of fun. Just like this, I thoroughly enjoy. There's something about when you put these headphones on
it's
and
just
start
different.
speaking in the mic.
It's just different, you know.
Because we talk like this. I come up here once or twice a month, and we'll sit down and talk like this. But it's something different. Podcasting.
We would have made if we combine the past 6 months, we would have had a pretty good episode. But so we actually said let's hit record this time, and roll with it. But every time I sit down and talk with anyone, male or female, it's vehicle related or not, I always, every time, leave it just feeling so good. Something about just the connection and
no, absolutely.
But getting to break bread with you too is very special. So getting to eat, hang out, special time of day, chit chat. Let's run this back maybe after hunting season.
Yeah,
have a recap of how hunting season went. I
know Jesse doesn't hunt, but we'll have to get you.
We get him. He would go.
Yeah, I used to hunt a lot when I was younger.
We get him out there.
Getting married and having kids.
Yeah.
So Brady and I, we're obviously going to do a lot of hunting locally in Oconee County, Oglethorpe. We'll go to Kentucky twice and Ohio. So we've got our season is
that's a good season.
Dialed, but it's already July, so it'll be time to go hunt very soon.
Very soon.
It's on the horizon.
Can't wait.
So maybe we could maybe Real Deal could film for Yappy sometime. Maybe
we should we could do our own little doe hunt. Last year I could have probably got all my buddies on good bucks last year, and they just all disappeared. So I'm not even saying anything to anybody this year. But
we should do something together, though.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We should do something.
I would love to.
We should all play golf together.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to say it because we've said that too much. But yeah, I've only played golf twice this year, and it's both been because Akins made me.
We got to get this guy to take off 500 push-ups a day. Good Lord, dude. Then go play golf.
We've legit for 2 years talked about it.
Yeah, it's kind of
because
sad.
when we were filming Nick Williams' truck down there, and we scared you with the train horn and stuff, and you popped up. We talked about it that day, and that was in August of 22. We've talked about this for so long.
No, it's been.
And every time we see each other, we're always like, you know what we should do? We should all play golf. But and it never happened.
In my defense, I played with Brady twice last year, the whole year, and I played twice this year because Akins made me. It was a tournament. And Neal, we need to go play golf, so we got to make time. I mean, maybe we could. I've got a spare bow. Maybe we could shoot some bows together.
Hey, no, we could go and play golf.
Yeah, we could, dude.
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
No, we gotta do what we did for the podcast. Hey, we're doing it today.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We did have to kind of do that. Hey, all right, we're doing this. When are we doing this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I've enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hour and a half, just like that.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy that you can do this for a living, though. Doesn't that feel kind of weird? Is people do this for a living?
Yeah, it is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it really is crazy. For me personally, I guess my main thing is accessories, but I think of myself more so of creativity content guy than that. I love that. I'm passionate about that. My main thing, but I truly love doing this type of stuff also.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because people are so interesting. Even
what's crazy to me is people that don't even do YouTube videos and they only podcast.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
There's no other creative, they literally just are podcasters. That's what's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. If you said, Neal, you have to stop customizing trucks or stop creating content, I would probably give up the trucks.
Yeah.
Cause I wouldn't know. It's such a part of my robotic every day, all day that I love it.
Yeah.
I'm 30 minutes past time on the post. We got to get off of here and post something. We got to post something. We got to take a picture when we get through here.
Yeah, absolutely.
To post for sure too.
Yeah. Yep. This is fun.
I'm good if y'all good.
Yeah.
All good?
Absolutely.
If you stuck around for an hour and 25 minutes, big props to you. That means a lot. Thank y'all. We'll get Yappy back in the near future. If you're not a subscriber or follower of his, hit him up. Yeah. Great guys you can see. Worth a watch. Peace out.